Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. So, Case, we'll go to you first with your scary good start to the season.
Yeah, kind of hemmed and hawed. There's a couple of ones, teams that are scaring me. Some obvious ones in being Vegas and Colorado, as they are undefeated, but there's maybe a little, expectation out of them to be that good. So I went with the Detroit Red Wings, who in our preseason rankings, I think we fell at number 7 with them, mostly because that division's so good. And that's one of the reasons why this is such a scary good start, because it's scary good at how well they're doing, but it's also scary for teams like Buffalo and Ottawa and Boston and everyone in that division, really, because they're all fighting for a playoff spot. They're all good teams. So I thought this was a scary start. I mentioned in the preseason rankings that the stat that Dylan Larkin has only played with one 60-point score, and it was Bertuzzi one season. I wanted to dig into that a little more, and I actually pulled the stats. So last year, Larkin led the team, and then Perron had 56 points. The year before that, Larkin had 69 and Bert had 62, so that was a little outlier. Before that, Larkin, 23 points in 44 games, and Hronek led the team with 26 and 56. Season before that, Larkin had 53, Bert had 48. Season before that, 73 for Larkin and 54 for Athanasiou. And in his rookie year, Larkin had 63 and Zetterberg had 56. So he really hasn't had much support when it comes to scoring goals, and really hasn't really had anyone on his line. Well, that's changed. Boy, has that changed.
Oh, yeah.
They're currently leading the league in goals per game with 5 goals per game, which is unbelievable. DeBrincat, his winger, is leading the league with 12 points in 6 games. 8 of them are goals. And Larkin has 11 points in 6 games. Raymond also doing great. Seider is contributing. Ghost is contributing. Perron, Compher, Sprong, Veleno. The depth of this team, they are all contributing. And I mean, Compher, for example, has led the team in ice time as forward. I don't think we expected that going into this season. So obviously the pickups have worked. Finally, a guy like Kopp is showing up on this team. They picked him up last year, and then he kind of ghosted them. But I really like, the goal scoring and what this team has done up front. But then the defense has been much better than what we expected, being 7th in goals against average. And their expected goals per 60 of 2.11 against backs that up with that being 9th in the league as well. So it's not like they're just getting lucky on the back end. They're playing good team defense. What I noticed when they played the Devils, which was their only loss on the season with them being 5-1, and they were the better team that night, I'll admit that. What I noticed watching that is how aggressive they are on the forecast and how they swarm a team. And the stats back that up as well, with them having the highest share of takeaways in the league at 63.27% in their games. Goaltending has been pretty middle of the road. It kind of seems like Reimer is actually the better goalie of the two so far. So it'll be interesting to see how that tandem battles it out for the rest of the year. I just think that in general, this team looks really good. I know it's 6 games in, so let's slow down. And they do have a goals for above expected of 8.46. So expect that to even things out later on in the year. But this team is certainly throwing their hat in as a playoff contender, and I'm excited to see what they can do for the year, because we did mention that they can shock people, but we also put them at 7.
Wow. Yeah. Detroit, the start has been incredible. The one thing, Case, that you failed to mention that I have to bring up is Justin Holl leading the team at a +9. That guy is just on the ice when it matters.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
I did notice that, and I just failed to mention it, but I kind of wanted to mention that because it's just a good screw you to Leafs fans.
Yeah, even though he's been scratched in one game so far, he's not, he's just, it's one of those things. Obviously plus minus, not a lot of people put much stock into it. Neither do the players, analysts, whatever, and neither do we. It's just one of those numbers that is still kicking around. And now, because it's Justin Holl, it's been shared a lot on social media. I've had that sent to me a few times. Harper actually did, but so it is what it is. But what an incredible start. I'm glad you brought up their goals for above expected, because of course, being right now number 1 in the league in terms of the luck stat you have to imagine that that's going to come down. Even in fantasy rankings, players like Larkin and DeBrincat are, I believe, both in the top 3 in our fantasy league, because that, like, every league is different in how they weight goals, assists, whatever. I'm pretty sure they're both in the top 3 as of right now, certainly within the top 5. That's going to change. They're going to come back down to earth. I could see them both being around a point per game. DeBrincat, I could see a 50-goal season incoming. It's not like he forgot how to score when he went to Ottawa. He just didn't want to be there and wasn't really surrounded by the same sort of players. So, like, he's going to have a great season. I just think 5 games in, we might want to pump the brakes for saying that he's going to win the Art Ross or something, because, those takes exist out there. But yeah, what a scary good start for the rest of the Atlantic Division. Like, they're looking at this team now who has got off to an incredible pace, and now all of a sudden, I'll exclude Boston because they're undefeated right now currently, but all of a sudden teams battling for a playoff spot, including Buffalo and I mean, you can lump Montreal in there as well, and Ottawa and Tampa Bay and even Toronto, like, and Florida. Like, these are teams who now are all of a sudden scared of the Detroit Red Wings, because if things keep going well, it could mean they get into a playoff spot for the first time in, what feels like almost a decade.